Good morning everyone. Welcome to CEC Gurukul lectures. I am Dr. Kumar Shantanu, Associate Professor of Botany from Deshbandhu College, University of Delhi. In this series of lectures on Archegoniaceae, we have already covered those genera which fall under bryophytes. Continuing from there, we have also covered some of the genera which belong to pteridophytes. When we talk about pteridophytes, they are the first land plants which possessed the conducting strands. Now, for the convenience of our own study, those entire group of pteridophytes have been divided into subgroups called as subdivisions or phylums also sometimes. So, pteridophytes could belong to Xylophytales, Xylophytopsida, Xylopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida. In our previous series of lectures, we have already seen the representatives of various subgroups. We have already studied Xylotum, we have also studied Equisetum, and we have also studied Lycopodium. Today, we are going to talk about one of the major divisions of pteridophytes, that is Lycophyta. Lycophyta has a class Ligulopsida, order Selaginellis, family Selaginaceae and genus Selaginella. As far as the division Lycophyta is concerned, it is one of the most prominent and highly diversified divisions of pteridophytes. The order Selaginellis is represented by only single living genus, that is Selaginella. Although an extinct genus Selaginellatis was discovered from Carboniferous periods, but apart from genus Selaginella, no living genus have been discovered till date. So, let us talk about various features of the order Selaginellis, and also, since this is a monotypic order and a monotypic family, let us talk about various features of family Selaginaceae. In case of Selaginaceae, the sporophyte is herbaceous and the shoot is either prostrate or erect. On these stems, the leaves are arranged in distichous manner. Now, what is a distichous arrangement of leaves? Let us try to understand with a small diagram. On a stem, leaves can be arranged in two prominent manners. One is an alternate manner, the other one is called as whorled manner. In case of alternate manner, the leaves can alternate each other and also they can grow in between the gap on the opposite side. In case of Fibonacci spiral, the leaves are arranged alternately, but they still make a kind of pattern which is spiral in nature. Now, the other kinds are decussate whorled and tricussate whorled. In case of decussate whorled, the leaves are arranged opposite to each other and the subsequent layers of leaves, they lie perpendicular to the previous plane of leaves. In case of tricussate, the number of leaves coming out from a single joint or from a single node happens to be 3 in number, and the leaf lamina alternate from the lower and upper leaf coming out from the upper and lower nodes. So, in case of Selaginella, we find alternate kind of leaf arrangement, leaf pattern, and in that alternate also we find distichous arrangement of leaves, which can be seen in this diagram very prominently. Now, as far as these leaves are concerned, the leaves are small, and these small leaves are called as microphyllous leaves. These microphyllous leaves, they have a ligule. They have a ligule which are present at the base of each of these ligules. These leaves only sometimes bear sporangium at their base, and then they are termed as sporophyll. So, all the leaves and sporophylls, they have a small tongue-like protrusion coming from their base, and these small protrusions are called as ligules. We will discuss the structure of these ligules in detail later in today's lecture. Talking about the root in case of Selaginacea, in many species of Selaginacea, the root system is produced from the leafless branch, and these leafless branch are called as rhizophores. Here you can very well see that the stem is bearing leaves on it, and from one of the nodes towards gravity arises a branch. This branch lacks any kind of leaf on it, and these branches, they go down to the substrate and help in anchorage and also absorption of mineral and water. So, such leafless branches which are looking like a root or which are positively geotropic, they are also termed as rhizophores. In case of family Selaginacea, the sporophytes are heterosporous, and the sporophylls are usually aggregated into strobili. Here it is worth mentioning that the life cycle of pteridophytes, they get completed in 2 different phases. The dominant phase is called as sporophytic phase of life cycle, and the recessive or the less occupied life cycle part is called as gametophytes or gametophytic generation. So, the sporophytic generation, the plant body is called as sporophytes, and on these sporophytes heterosporous conditions are found. And what is heterospory? The spores which are born on these sporophytes, they are of 2 morphology. The one is large size spores and the other one is small size spores. The large size spores are termed as megaspores, and the other type, that is the small spores, are termed as microspores. And these spores are encapsulated inside a structure called as sporangium, and these sporangia, they are born at the base of leaves on the stem. These specialized leaves which bear sporangium at their base, they are termed as sporophylls. Here we can very well and very distinctly see the arrangement of sporangia on the stem axis. So, this is the longitudinal axis, and on this axis lies multiple leaves, and those leaves which bear these sporangium. These sporangia at their base, they are termed as sporophylls. And the cluster of these sporophylls, they are collectively termed as strobilus. So in case of Selaginaceae, the strobilus is heterosporous, means two different types of spores are found. One is called as megaspore. Here you can very well see a sporophyll which bears sporangium containing megaspores, and these sporophylls are termed as megasporophylls, and at the base they have megasporangium containing megaspores. Here we have a microsporophyll, and at the base we have microsporangium containing microspores. So this is a unifying feature or character of the family, the entire family of Selaginaceae. As far as the less predominant phase in the life cycle is concerned, that is the gametophytic phase, it is represented by gametophytes, and they are extremely reduced in size and they show segregation of sex. That is, these gametophytes are dioecious in nature. We will talk about the segregation of sex and the dioecious nature of members of Selaginaceae in detail when we proceed throughout this lecture, and we will see how the megagametophyte and microgametophyte are found and they are produced from microspores and megaspores. Also, the male or microgametophytes and female or megagametophytes are different in size, and also they bear male and female sex organs respectively. So let us talk about the systematic position of family Selaginaceae. Selaginaceae is an ancient group of lycopods along with Lycopodiaceae and Isoetaceae under the phylum Lycophyta. Selaginaceae are heterosporous group comprising a single genus called as Selaginella, and the single genus Selaginella can be subdivided into subgenus U. Selaginella. Let us talk about Selaginella in particular, and by understanding the biology of Selaginella, we will be trying to understand the biology of the entire group of Selaginelles. So Selaginella comprises nearly 700 species found under diverse climatic conditions, and in India 71 species of Selaginella have been reported till date, and they are found in the Himalaya and South Indian regions of our country. As far as the occurrence of Selaginella is concerned, they are widely distributed, and they are distributed mainly in the tropical and subtropical regions of the world, and they prefer moist places. Some of the species do grow in extreme xerophytic conditions, such as Selaginella lepidophylla and Selaginella pilifera, Selaginella victrei, Selaginella rependa. So these are some of the xerophytic Selaginella species. Majority of the species, they are herbaceous and perennial. These herbaceous and perennial species, they grow either dorsiventral or they grow prostrate. There are certain species of Selaginella which are scandent in nature, such as Selaginella wildenovi and Selaginella adunca. Now, what is the meaning of scandent species? Scandent species are those species which are neither prostrate nor completely erect. They almost resemble like a climber which require some kind of support to extend their growth. One of the most common scandent species of Selaginella is Selaginella willdenovi. They are sub-erect in nature. Selaginella species are also caulescent, and they are having erect stems which arise from the creeping rhizomes. Now, what is the meaning of caulescent? Caulescent species are those species which have an erect and very prominent stem present, and these stems arise from the prostrately growing rhizomes. One such example of caulescent species of Selaginella is Selaginella ambrosa. Here you can see a very thick and prominent stem coming out from the creeping rhizome at the base, and from the species various sub branches and leaves are formed. There are certain species of Selaginella which are used as ornamentals, such as the most common one which we encounter in our household decorative items is Selaginella kraussiana. Selaginella picta and Selaginella adunca are also commonly used as decorative items. There are many species of Selaginella which grow on tree trunks and branches, and these are epiphytic in nature. You can see the luxurious growth of these ferns over the tree trunks, and they extract their nutrition. They extract their nutrition from the dead and decaying bark of the tree trunks. One such species which is epiphytic in nature is Selaginella oregana. Now let us talk about Selaginella species in detail. Some of the Selaginella species are capable of flexing their branches and roll to assume the shape of balls under prolonged dry conditions. Here you can see a ball of dried Selaginella plant, and upon receiving moisture they can resume the green color and they can flex themselves and their branches and start their normal metabolism. Once the moisture returns, they resume their normal form and metabolism, and such plants are termed as resurrection plants. In general, the plant body of Selaginella has prostrate and dorsiventral, while the others could be radial and erect. There could be some species which are sub-erect and rarely scandent. So some of the plant bodies are also climbers and climb with the help of pads developed at the end of the rhizophores. In this diagram you can see a typical branch of Selaginella, and from the nodes a positively geotropic stem comes which lack any kind of leaves on it, and these leafless stems are called as rhizophores. So on the basis of the types of leaves, the entire genus of Selaginella can be divided into two sections. One is called as homeophyllum, where all the leaves of a plant are similar in morphology and in their shape, whereas in case of heterophyllum species, the leaves are not similar. They have two different sizes. The larger one is called as large leaves or megaphylls, and the smaller leaves are called as small leaves or microphylls. Here in the diagram you could see some of different types of Selaginella plant body and the kind of leaves which can be seen. Now let us talk about the stem of Selaginella. In case of Selaginella, the stem could be erect, it could be sub-erect, prostrate, or hanging around, also called as pendant. And most of the stems are branched, and these branches can be distinguished into sub branches also, which grow almost in the same plane. And the branching pattern in case of stem of Selaginella happens to be dichotomous, means one branch diverges into two branch. Equal growth can take place from the main axis, and the branch gives a very clear-cut dichotomous appearance. In this diagram, you could see the branches could be prostrate, growing prostrate, or they could grow erect, perpendicular to their substratum. There are two rows of smaller dorsiventral leaves and two rows of larger ventral leaves. So they form four vertical rows attached laterally on the dorsiventral stem. The smaller and larger leaves alternate with each other, and the arrangement of leaves on the stem is always spiral, having dorsiventral symmetry. The leaves are small, also called as microphyllous. They are thin, very simple and sessile, and lanceolate. Lanceolate means the shape which resembles a lens, or the shape could be ovate also, and each leaf has a distinct midrib. Lamina margins may be entire, means it could be a one single smooth line, or it could be serrate, means there are certain protrusions coming out which looks like teeth, and the apex of each leaf is acute. Those species, there are certain species which have heterophyllum section. They have n-isophilous leaves, and they consist of two different kinds of leaves. In the diagram, you could very well see that leaves are arranged on dorsal and ventral side. On dorsal side, you can see two rows of dorsal leaves and two rows of ventral leaves. In some of the species, the leaves could be of two different sizes, the megaphilous one and the microphyllous one. The small leaves are called as microphyllous leaf, and the larger leaf, they are called as megaphilous leaves. As far as the structure of a leaf is concerned, you can very well see that a single leaf, they happen to be small in size. They are sessile, so they do not have any pedicel at the base. The margin of the lamina, they are sometimes serrated. They have a protrusion, a tooth-like protrusion, also called as serrate margins, and multi-layer cells are found in the middle, which can be termed as midribs, and at the base they have a structure called as ligules. The leaves, all species, they possess a tongue-like ligule at the base of each leaf on its upper surface, which is a characteristic feature of all ligulopsida. In case of ligules, they are found at the base of all the sporangium, and as far as the ligules are concerned, the basal portion has elongated cells called as ophioglossum, and apex has a tongue-like appearance. The ligule develops early during the development of the leaf and arises from the base of the leaf on the upper side. The ligule may be tongue-shaped, as the case is in Selaginella chrysocollus. It could be wedge-shaped, as the case is in Selaginella martensi. It could be lobed or lanceolate, or may even have sagittated margins. It withers away in mature leaves. And each ligule distinguished into glossopodium and the body of ligule. The glossopodium is basal hemispherical portion embedded in a cup-shaped glossopodial sheath. It secretes mucilage and keeps sporangium and the young leaf when it is moist. So we will talk about the other morphological feature of rhizophore in our next lecture. Thank you so much for joining us.